Why is it that we're so wired to believe magicians when we've never even met them? It's just hardwired into us. Why can't we have that same belief in life? If life takes something away from you, life throws you a setback like it did in my story, made everything disappear, actually, why can't we have that same belief of trusting something extraordinary is about to happen? And it's bridging that gap.
Hello, dear listeners. It's that time again when we stroll through the paths of ambition, desire, and success. Welcome to the Dare to Declare podcast, where we explore the enchanting world of giant manifestors who've turned their visions and goals into the stuff of legends. I couldn't help but wonder, how do some people create the lives they've always dreamed of? Is it the magic of manifesting, the power of perseverance, or perhaps just a dash of serendipity? Well, dear friends, grab your coffee cups because we're about to spill the tea on fascinating journeys of those who dare to dream big and make it happen. Join me as we sip on success stories and ponder the ever-enticing question, can we all manifest our dreams into reality, or is it just an urban fairy tale? I'm your host, Debbi Sluice, and I'm here to guide you through the labyrinth of achievement with heart and soul. Ready to dare to declare? Let's get started. Hey everyone, I am so excited to introduce you to my new friend. And really, I feel like I've known him for much longer than we have. It's only been, I could actually count it in weeks probably. It's been about 6 or 7 weeks. And his name is Ricky Locke. And he is a confidence coach. He is now a TEDx speaker. He is a Jack Canfield Success Principles Trainer. He's an NLP practitioner. He's an award-winning magician. With over 20 years in retail leadership, he now empowers others through the Confident Club, and the Unlocked podcast, using magic, mindset, and motivation to help people unlock their true potential. Welcome, Ricky.
Hello, Debbi. Pleasure to be here. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
You're so welcome. You know, we were on a call this week, you and I was just so excited with you when Jack Canfield said that you are one of the most fun people. I don't know if he said fun or funniest. I think it was fun people that he knows.
Yeah.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, I'm having that. Yeah, I'm going to put that on my website. Yeah, you are one of the funniest people I've ever met. So it's like, yeah, I'll take that.
Absolutely. I mean, and we know how many people he's met, and he's just so charmed and entranced by you. And so I'm excited for my listeners to also meet this funniest person, this amazing man, and also to dig in a little bit behind the scenes on, some of real life things that have brought you to this point. And so let's work backwards. Let's start with what's happening and what's just happened to you in the last week, in that you have manifested a really big breakthrough goal. Can you just tell everyone and share with me a bit about that, and also how you're feeling?
Yeah, so thank you, Debbi. So 4 weeks ago, so when we first met, which was in Newport, no, not Newport, it was Irvine, California for BTS. That was like 1 week before I was about to do my TEDx talk. So that was 4 weeks ago, or 5 weeks ago now. I don't know where the time's gone. I've been in flow state now. And so I did a TEDx talk, which was my breakthrough goal that I set through last year. I'm feeling absolutely amazed, overwhelmed as well, because it's like a really strange thing when it comes out and everybody's been like messaging me. They've been getting in touch saying, oh my God, this has really helped me out. The story is reminding me of my own story. And it's so weird when you set yourself a big challenge like that, or a big breakthrough goal, and now it's happened. It's like, oh yeah, God, I made that dream a reality. And now the question, this is probably a shameless plug to my own TEDx talk, but the question now is, what happens next?
Yeah.
That's the thing that I'm looking forward to. So yeah.
So can you just tell everyone, we'll put connections to this in the show notes as well, and I'll make sure, and I have been promoting it. So for those of you who are already following me on social media, go back, check out Ricky's YouTube video there of his TED Talk. But what's the title of it, so people can just Google it?
Yeah, so it's called Magical Resilience, How Curiosity Unlocks Possibility. And in short, it's, if you'd like me to share.
I would love that. And, I remember in California, you and I walking to lunch, or walking back from lunch, and you telling me a bit about it, and my mouth just dropping open at the brilliance of the parallels to this mindset work that we do. So yeah, please share.
Thank you. Yeah. So, in short, it's about facing setbacks with curiosity. And the link is, so as a magician, I get to meet people all the time. And for just a strange, weird thing, whenever I meet people and say, "Hi, my name's Ricky, I'm a magician," they just for that moment go, "Oh my God, magic, wow." And they're like transported into like childlike wonder. But for those next moments, they just instantly believe that anything is possible. And if I was to like borrow something like a phone, a watch, key, or something like that, what happens is I'll make it disappear. And in that moment when I make disappear, they just kind of, suspend belief. They're not panicking. They're not running away going, "What are you doing with my watch, my phone?" And, considering that these are like the most expensive things, our phones, like thousands of pounds, but they always trust that there's something magical coming. And I thought, well, hang on a minute, this is really weird. Why is it that we're so wired to believe magicians when we've never even met them? It's just hardwired into us. Why can't we have that same belief in life? If life takes something away from you, life throws you a setback like it did in my story, make everything disappear. Actually, why can't we have that same belief of trusting something extraordinary is about to happen? And it's bridging that gap.
Yeah. When you shared that with me, something just connected to you and like I said, to the brilliance of this work and this idea of trust and curiosity. So that seems to be the
Mm.
theme of your talk, was this idea of curiosity. So can you share a bit about how that has shown up in your own life?
Yeah, thank you. So I've always been like um, a big person into learning and development, especially personal development. And I've always been curious myself. I'm always asked the question like, why? Wow. And I think it's called Kaizen, I think, isn't it? I think it's a Japanese thing of Kaizen, which is like constantly growing, constantly developing, never settling. So I've just been really fascinated of like why things work. And I think that's probably what led me to magic. When people do magic tricks, I'm like, oh, how does that work? How do you do that? And by having those principles has guided me for everything. Whatever I've done in life has always been led to curiosity. I'm never one to settle, and I'm never one to just kind of like accept things the way they are. I always want to develop. I always want to grow. I want to be asking the question, what does that mean? Or how can I make that better? So it's kind of become like this thread. It's just run through my entire life. That's kind of opened up doors to just the most extraordinary moments, going around the world, presenting, speaking, meeting you, BTS. It's just something I think probably as a kid, probably my mum and dad probably just used to say, "No, Ricky, it's just that." I'm like, "Why, mum? Why, dad? Why is that?" And just wanting to always pursue, looking at different things. So yeah, maybe as a child, trauma, probably. It's probably trauma. That's what happened.
Hmm. Well, that I asked this question not of everyone, but I'm curious for you, is that who was there an adult in your life or a friend, a mentor, someone who helped instill that in you or encourage that or see that curiosity, that spark in the little version of you?
Oh, that's a good question. Wow. Well, how long have we got? Because this could turn into
You go
therapy.
right ahead.
Are we? You're good. Um, I think I probably model most of my stuff from my dad. So my dad was always a very talented person. He still is alive. I shouldn't say was, he is now. He plays guitar, he does lots of different things. He's very creative. And I think probably as a model, I kind of took a lot of that from him. So I think probably modeling my parents was one of them. Um, I think just as a child, I was always asking questions. My mum and dad said like I always was always talking. I never shut up, always asking questions. So perhaps maybe they just maybe they didn't give me enough love. So then I had to ask the questions to get conversations. I'm joking. If mum and dad listen to this, no, I love you. But I think it was my mum and dad's. Yeah. I think modeling from them
Right.
of what they are and how they behave led me to be just curious, like I remember as a kid going to like a festival and seeing like a drummer on stage. And I was like, "Oh, wow, what is this noise? This is amazing. What does this mean? I'd love to learn that. How's he doing that? Why is that sound coming out of that speaker like that? And what's he doing with all these drumsticks?" And that would lead me to go to, well, let's just go have a go. Shall we try something? And I think it's been difficult because I think a lot of people don't have that same mindset of me. They go, "Oh, I'd love to do the drums or I'd love to play guitar," but whereas I just go, "Oh, let's just go do it. I'll just go find out." And I think maybe as a kid, maybe that my mum and dad never really put any kind of limits or boundaries on. It was just a case of, yeah, go do it. I was never stopped. I was always just curious and just it led me to just amazing things. So it's a really good question. I don't think I've ever been asked that before.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
again, my
Yeah.
background is in early years, so I'm always curious because I have children of my own, I have grandchildren, and uh, and I spent 30 years in childcare, and so knowing that those first 5 years really set the course for who we become, and then, like you
Mm,
said,
yeah.
sometimes then we need to go back to therapy to undo some of those beliefs and trauma that have been inflicted upon us and take
Mm,
responsibility and all those things. So when I see someone who has, developed this childlike, and, I mean this with respect, but this childlike sense of curiosity, I'm always curious myself, where does that come from? And so
mm.
absolutely from childhood. And so this is another question I have for you is you had shared with me that you are a dad, right? You have one child,
Yeah.
right? Is it one? Yeah.
Yes. A little girl called Alma.
Yes, and I think even we're talking about what would you bring her back from California as a souvenir, and so
Yeah.
now being in the position of being a father, what kinds of things do you feel that you pull from this work and you use as a parent?
This is really interesting because so Jack and his work talks about success principles for kids, you know, and I would love to install what it is that I have, that belief, that confidence into my daughter so that she can grow up and not face the things that I've had issues with, I think, as a kid. And right now she's at that age where she doesn't really listen. She's in that like playful, running around, being mental, being crazy.
How old
And
is
it's
that? 'Cause
really
that
hard.
goes right through to teenage years, just saying.
Oh, does it? Oh, right. Okay. So she is
Oh my
three and a bit, three and a bit. And so she's almost 4 this year, but, I'm definitely installing her into, taking responsibility, E plus R equals O, choices, processing, feelings and emotions, which sometimes can be really difficult as a kid. But as she's growing, I'm starting to help her be really accountable. So being really clear, what is it that you want? What do you want to do? Tell daddy, let's be really clear. And I think as time grows, as she starts to get a little bit more at school, I'm going to really start to like not put it down, like this is our mantra, this is our Bible or whatever, but just start learning that you get to decide what you want. Life isn't dictated to you. Whatever your beliefs might have, you get to choose it. So I'm quite conscious of that in terms of empowering her with some really powerful beliefs. As a kid, I wasn't born with the fear of, public speaking or the fear of running a business and losing everything. But instead, you were born with two things, the fear of falling over and the fear of loud noises. So I'm conscious of how I behave is going to have a big impact on her. And I know that there'll be a point, Debbie, where she might grow to be a teenager, be 20 years old, and she'll have trauma. She'll come back to therapy and go, Dad, why were you such this positive guy? Why did you do all this personal development on me? Oh, there's this other world, because that happened to me. So I think I want to guide her through that in the best way, because if I could have learned everything that I'd learned now as a kid or even in school, who knows what my life would have been right now, learning how to control our responses to life's obstacles and opportunities, being really clear on what it is I want, dealing with rejection, asking for what I want. I think if I can empower those beliefs on her, I think her life will be very different.
No,
Yeah.
that's brilliant. I hope parents are
Yeah.
listening to that and to just embody that. And it's not like a, sit down and talk about mindset today. It's about the way that you are being. And what I know as a parent is my children are watching, and it's more like
Yeah.
she's seeing dad's now, sharing his big message on stage, and he does his magic, and it's in the conversations that
Yeah.
you're having with people, and yeah, all those ways of being. So here's something that I found really curious. When you were younger, you told me that you left school without knowing. And I like in my notes, I just have a period at the end of that, not knowing. So I don't even know what the not knowing was about. But can you talk a bit about that? And I think that's been a bit of a pattern in your life in that you've had moments of not knowing.
Yeah. So I think that might have been the conversation of I left school without knowing what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
Everyone that I kind of grew up with like had a path. They knew I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be an electrician, whereas I didn't. I just knew that if I was going to go to like university or college, it would be to party. to spend money on drink, have alcohol, that kind of thing. So in what we call the gap between leaving school and in college, what we have in the UK, which is before university, I had to do work experience. We had to contact a retailer, a company, and say, can we do 2 weeks experience with you to kind of give us an idea of what we want to do in life? And I already had a job working in Argos, which is a retailer in the UK. So I decided that I would just reach to my boss and said, look, Darren, I have to do 2 weeks work experience. Can I just stay here? There's no point in me going somewhere else. He said, yeah, sure, Ricky, come work here. And then I really enjoyed it, Debbie. It was 2 weeks getting money. So as a 16, 17-year-old, I was like, I'd like a bit of money. Bought my first car, which, 17, that's what everyone was doing. We were going in the UK, I think, America, is it 18 you have to drive?
I'm in
18?
Canada, but yeah, 16.
Oh, 16. Okay, cool. Yeah. So we have to be 17. And I was driving. It was fantastic. It was great. And I just said, look, I think I'm going to stay here. And I quit sixth form, which is what we call college, this bit, the limbo world. And then I decided to just pursue that. And for the next 15 years of my life, I worked in retail and started from the ground up. I worked my way right up to the top of the ladder, became a store manager, then a national trainer for the whole company. And that's kind of what led that path. So again, that curiosity of the unknown, I really didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. It was unknown. But actually there was something magical about, okay, is this just a bit of permission to play, to try something? And just played around. And then it led me to somewhere quite magical. Yeah.
So you honed your skills as an instructor, trainer, presenter, but also sales, right? Was sales also part of your, because I'm always find it interesting, like Bob Proctor, who was in the movie The Secret with Jack, he speaks so highly of sales. And I know sales gets the bad rap. It's kind of like, the lawyer of the career, where people kind of like to make fun of a salesperson. But yet it's truly within sales that if you have no sale, you have no service. Yes. And so how do you feel like that has benefited you in what you're doing now?
That's a good question. So I used to work, when I first started that job, I was working in the stockroom, bringing out items for people as they paid for it, give it to them, bag it up, give it to them. So when we had to do work experience, my boss put me onto the tills. So I think we call that like checkouts. And it was great. It was, I liked people, and I realized, I quite like people. And I think I got a bit of a knack of a bit of a gift of the gab, we call it, a little bit of making people feel something, being a bit cheeky, a bit of charismatic to people. And I really liked that. And that kind of led me to become into sales, because we had targets. We had to sell financial products. We had to sell credit cards for the store, that kind of thing. And I found like I had a bit of a way, which I think kind of led me to understand I really like people. I don't want to be in the back of the house in the stockroom. I actually would love to just be making people's day, which led to like, kind of the magic as well, because a big belief of mine, it's kind of been one of the other threads through my life, which is the Maya Angelou quote. People won't remember what you said. They won't remember what you did. They'll never forget how you made them feel. And through magic, and even through sales and through retail work, I had this opportunity of making people feel something. They could be coming in from like the worst day of their life, and then I could say something, or just give them a smile, say something, and then make their day. And then in turn, what I didn't realize at the time was building rapport with people. When you build rapport with someone, they feel connected to you, they want to trust you, but then they might want to buy something from you. So it was a really good skill to have. So at the time I was only probably about 18, 19, and that served me well, because as I left eventually, became a national trainer, went into running my own business, those were skills I wouldn't have where I am right now if I didn't do that. And I always recommend to people, if you don't know, if you're going to do something like have your own business, go work at a job in a shop or in retail first, so you can hone your craft. You can learn how to deal with customers, learn how to deal with people. It's hard. Retail, I remember customers would come in with broken items that they'd purchased, and they'd be throwing them over the counter at us. And we'd be like, I won't swear on this podcast, but we were called like names all under the sun. But what it does, it builds that kind of, mental resilience or mental toughness to go, yeah, okay, I get it. So yeah, it was really helpful, really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had something similar when I was in my 20s. I was working at a university campus childcare. And then
Mhm.
part-time, just to make more money, I was working in a maternity store. I mean, here I'm not married, I don't have children, but I'm working in a maternity store. And I was one of the youngest and newest employees, and I loved it. Like, just like you said, like putting together, I was like, oh no, you need more than just one item. You need a whole capsule. Like you need,
Yeah, yeah.
what are you doing to go out? How are you going to feel better about yourself? And just, so I loved selling. And you're right. Like that has really made me resilient and also resourceful and able to
Yeah, yeah.
respond to people. And, you said something about trust with the magic. And we started off the conversation saying that, and that is one of the key components is in a sales conversation is to edify one's energy and the other person so that you're bringing them up to where you're at with your enthusiasm, with that trust that
Mm.
you can. And with magic, you're quickly doing that in that you're edifying one's energy simply by identifying yourself as a magician.
Yeah, 100%. Well, it's funny. I've got to tell you this. I served Sir Stephen Hawking. Unfortunately, he's no longer alive anymore. If you know Stephen
Was he
Hawking,
the gentleman in the
and
wheelchair?
yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
astrologer, famous man, the big black hole. Yeah, he. So I worked in Cambridge in the UK, and his university was in Cambridge, so he would come in, and it was brilliant. He was buying a foot pump, which it just seems ironic, this guy in this electric wheelchair, no mobility, but it was great. But I managed to sell him the add-ons, the extra batteries for it, and he smiled. So I was like, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. So with magic and that, it's a very quick, interruption pattern. And there's that confidence there as well of approaching a group of strangers. A lot of people wouldn't be able to do it because they don't have that confidence to just talk to people. So as you learn the ropes and you become a magician, when you approach a group of strangers and interrupt someone's conversation, which can be very rude, to say, "Hi, my name's Ricky. I'm the magician. I'm here to entertain you." There's these it's you've got to be very quick to build rapport because people's guards are like, right, who are you? What are you here for? What are you doing? So as soon as those quick tricks come out, you go, right, you break the ice. People relax more. And as a pickpocket, when I perform and I steal people's watches, phones, or things from their pockets, when you've built rapport with someone that they're comfortable around you and even comfortable as the, light touch on their shoulder or, you make a joke, you just tap their arm, their guards come down, and then that's when you can then misdirect and then steal things. So yeah, it's a fascinating concept, and it's definitely helped me to just like when I think about my wife, me and my wife, we have this thing about the kite and the string.
Yes, please share
And the
that. Yeah,
kite,
yeah.
yeah, I'm the kite flying in the air, big blue sky thinker, lots of creativity, lots of ideas, and she's the string. She pulls me down to earth and tells me when I'm crap, when it's not good. And it's a really good blend because as a magician and as a performer and a presenter and a speaker, we're constantly told you're amazing, you're brilliant. Oh my God, that trick was amazing. So sometimes you need that grounding. You need someone to bring you back down to earth to like, you are normal, Ricky. You're not this like God or whoever. But I know for a fact that she wouldn't be able to do that. She would not be able to approach a group of strangers. And even, she probably could, but she'd be like shaking. And I think it's now become this, like the levels of learning. It's become unconscious for me now. I don't even think about it. There probably was a time when I first started where I had to start out and, there was a fear of, is the trick going to work? Are these people going to want me? But I think just through repetition and doing it over and over, it just becomes unconscious. So I don't even think about it now. A bit like when obviously we first met, if you might remember, and I just went up to a certain person at BCS and said, "Oh, my friend Debbi wants to share some of it," and probably if it wasn't for magic or doing something like that, I probably wouldn't have done that. So yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. And, and you think about the other people that are also in that experience,
Yeah,
they're watching it as well. And so you've enrolled them in it as well. Like
yeah,
they're as invested as the person who's missing their wallet or their phone, kind of holding their
yeah,
breath. And I noticed that about you as well, is that you really accessed the universal laws, also the law of attraction, the law of vibration in your
yeah,
doing. Because when I noticed, you and I were at lunches together and there would be this hubbub and I'd be like, oh, Ricky's there in the middle of it all. And like you get the table and people are all
yeah,
attracted to that. They're not even sitting, they're standing watching what you're doing and you've enrolled them.
yeah.
So yeah, it's the magic, but it's also that you've understood how that connects into the universal laws.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. That's really powerful. Yeah. I think maybe it was born from boredom, I think. So as a kid, I remember going to like the local pub, or, local restaurant with my friends and family or whatever. And I'd go out with my mates and I'd probably just be bored and say, "Hey, would you like to see a trick?"
Yeah.
And it turned into a moment of just feeling the mundane. And now it's become this wonderful thing, which is like at any point I can just bring it out if I need to, or if I want to. And I see myself as, there's a great magician in the UK called James Brown, and he calls himself a professional opportunist. And I think I see myself as that same way. So I look for the opportunities. So when Jack came and sat at our table on day one for lunch, I remember it's like, "Oh, he's got a watch on," and might be able to do some pickpocketing. And I was showing him because I was doing some tricks to him, and he said, "Oh, I love magic. I was doing tricks for him last year at BTS." I said, "Jack, I don't know if you remember, I did some magic for you." And yeah, yeah, yeah. So I showed him a quick couple of tricks, and he was like, he said, "Ricky, I really love magic." And he said, "I love going to Las Vegas, and I love watching the pickpockets." And then I was like, I looked at my friend, so Kashid Setnam, who's my accountability partner. I looked at Kashid, and we both smiled because she knew I was a pickpocket. And I went, "It was funny you mentioned that, Jack, because let me share with you." And then I was showing him how to do it, and which was amazing because when we came back from lunch on day one, Jack said to the room, "Did everybody have a good lunch?" I did, because I got to sit on the table with Ricky and he was stealing my watch. And then for the rest of the next 3 days, everyone just kept coming up to me going, "Are you the magician?" I was like, "Yeah, that's me. Hello, you're right." And the best part of that for me, though, was on the last final night, our Come As You'll Be party. We're all queuing up to say goodbye to Jack, have the big hug, final thing. And as I put my arms out to hug him, he grabs my wrists and he says, "You're not stealing anything now." It was hilarious. We had this wonderful
Oh,
dance
that's
around.
awesome.
Yeah. So to me, that's a really powerful thing that I think often maybe as magicians we neglect that. We don't appreciate the power that we have to make someone feel something. Magic is that pattern interrupt. We can make people feel something. We can make people forget about their mortgage, their bills, their life, their turmoil. And just for that split second, they believe anything's possible. So I think with Jack, there was this joy. Someone said to me, like, "I don't think I've ever seen Jack smile so much." And that was just probably why he said that I was the funniest person.
Yeah.
But for me, that is such a powerful thing. And what I've translated, I think, into my life is, right, how can we capture that, but put that into everything? So whether I'm speaking on stage, let's replicate that feeling, because magic really, it's not just the trick, is how someone feels. So how could I inject magic into every single thing I do? Is it an interaction? Is it a conversation? Is it surprise? Whatever it might be, misdirection. So it's a very powerful thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. You know,
Pleasure. Thank you. Yeah.
Jack says that confidence is created with the survival of risk. And so,
Yeah.
maybe the listener is thinking, well, I'm not a magician. How do I do that? And yet you talked about the risk that you took to interrupt the
Mm.
conversation, to just sit down and start. And you showed that to me. So you just mentioned it a few minutes ago where I met you, and I wasn't leading the vision board experience at this event, and there was someone else doing it. And you're like, "You need to be up on stage. Get up there, girl." And I was like, and it just felt very risky to me, because the plan was to have this other person who was doing it, and he was doing it with a lot of enthusiasm. And you're like, "I'm going to go ask." And so you went over to the MC and you asked him. And then so I can't quite remember what you said when you came back, but it was something like, he said, "Good idea," or something. I said, "What does that even mean?" And you said, "I'm not sure, but you should probably just get ready." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So I started, and there's another lesson, right? So I just started getting ready as if, like, expecting that, yes, this is going to come, this is going to happen. And sure enough, the MC came over and he said, "Are you ready?" And I said, "To go on stage." He's like, "Yep." And so I did. So I'm so grateful to you for you taking that risk, and then supporting me to take the risk, because that's
Mm.
truly where courage grows and leads into the next wonderful thing that we want to
Yeah.
manifest.
Well, I think so. Thank you for doing that, for stepping into that. And so here's what I believe, right? So this comes from the magic, because how does any magician get better at tricks? You just got to keep doing it over and over in repetition, right? But as magicians, we have this thing, without revealing a magician's code or anything, but like multiple outs. Magicians always win. You ever notice that? They never lose, do they? That's probably because they've got like alternative routes or alternative tricks to do things. So I believe that, when I learned how to steal someone's watch or to steal a pickpocket, a phone or anything like that, that's a pretty big deal. So someone's like, what were you doing? So the first couple of times it failed, but I was comfortable going, okay, it's okay. Because the big NLP presupposition, which is there's no failure, it's just feedback. It's just an outcome, right? If I got caught, I would just make a joke. I've built enough rapport with that crowd to go, haha, I'm just stealing your watch, and they'll laugh. And I'll think, cool. I'll take it away and go, how interesting. That didn't work. I wonder what I need to do differently. Oh, maybe I need to do a different trick or misdirect them differently. And it's just over time, just having the comfortability of like, you know what? What's the worst that's going to happen? So going to BTS, if the MC had said to me, no, well, that's it. We're nowhere further than where we were, right? So it didn't matter.
Yeah.
It's not like we're going back. But actually, don't be afraid to just ask, because what's the worst that can happen? What led me to being here now, one of the many paths of me, I was in New York in May running a workshop for Audible. It was a fantastic experience. And all of that journey that led before that was I reached out to one of my favorite authors and I said, I'd love to have you come on my podcast. Send him a voice note on LinkedIn saying, hey, I'm Ricky. I've been using your work. I love your principle of this. I'd love for you to come on the podcast. He replied and said, yes, I'd love to. And you send me your address, Ricky. I'll send you a copy of my new book. Great. That led for me and him to meet up. We got on really well. And then we became, and we are now, we're co-directors of that company that he runs. He said, I really like you, Ricky. There's something about you. I think you should come work for me. Come to my business. We train like corporate companies, like blue chip companies on presentation skills. And I think you'd be a really good fit here. And that's just because I asked. And what was the worst that was going to happen, right? So, yeah, I think a good message really for the audience is there's no failure in your feedback, right?
Right.
Imagine if you could just remove failure from your vocabulary and just everything was just an outcome.
Mm-hmm.
It not be the outcome that you want. It's not failure. You just take it away. And my mentor once taught me this, which is if you think about Star Trek, there was a famous character called Spock.
Yeah.
And whenever like the USS Enterprise was like being hit or aliens going shooting them, whatever, Spock would just stand there, really cool, calm, collected. And he'd often say, how fascinating. And if you can take that with you and just go, how fascinating. I asked for something. It didn't happen. Or I did a trick. It didn't work. How fascinating. I wonder what I can do about it. Maybe a story for another day, Debbi, but I'll tell you another time when I stood on stage with Nelson Mandela's bodyguard.
Okay, tell the story. Please tell the story.
I'll tell it. Okay, right. So I'll be careful what I say in case of certain people listening, but I stood on a stage. It was a fantastic event. There was me, two other keynote speakers, Chris Lube, who is Nelson Mandela's bodyguard, really lovely guy, talked about apartheid, being in prison with Nelson Mandela, fantastic experience. I was booked as the keynote speaker for after lunch. The problem in the morning was that the event had loads of schools that were coming. So these were for school teachers. And one of the buses had gone to the wrong school. So they didn't arrive on time. And the organizer was like, oh my God, we can't start. We can't start. We've got to have this here. And the reason was because they had a load of awards they wanted to give away. And they wanted to do it in the morning for them. So it was really important that they were there because they were on the video. So anyway, you've got all the people who are there for the conference. It's like 8:30. They're all having their coffees. And they're like, come on, we're supposed to be starting by now. And everyone's like, we're not opening the doors, Right. Anyway, an hour later, this bus arrives. So we're an hour behind. They're like, come on, guys, come on, get inside. Come on, we got to start. Please, come on. As people are coming in to this big theater, what happens is they just get on stage. They start to say, look, we're going to start. Just get your seats as safely as you can. We're going to start. They start going through it. They're so behind, about an hour and a half behind now. They start carrying on. They start giving out awards during break, coffee and tea, They start to catch up and then they say, right, I think we've done it. We're going to go to lunch right now. We've had two keynote speakers, Chris Lube, Nelson Mandela's bodyguard, standing ovation. Beautiful. They go to lunch. They're still behind and they say, we're going to go to lunch right now. Catering is going to come out to every single one of your tables. We're going to give out the awards whilst you're having lunch, like a working lunch. 650 people are in this audience. It's a huge event. Catering's coming out. And they said, Ricky, you're on after lunch. And I said, are you sure you want me to come on? Like I can wait, No, Ricky, we got time. We've got to crack on, Pulled it back with about 15 minutes to go. So we're going to get you on at 10 to 2 instead of 1:30. They say, we're going to go ahead now. We're going to announce you on right now. I went, are you sure? They said, yes. They said, can you still do your Energizer again? I was like, yeah, okay, cool. And they introduced me as the caterers, as still collecting plates and handing out dessert and ice cream. So all we're hearing is like cutlery, knives, forks, plate. No one is interested in me because they're just doing this.
Yeah.
There's a famous I'll share with you one day, where someone is tucking in and I'm standing on stage going, ah. So for the next deliver a keynote where nobody could hear me, and it was hot hell, right? And just to caveat even worse, just as I was about to finish, what happens is 2 people come stand on the stage where they had lecterns. I'm just about to deliver my closing line. I'm about 5 minutes away from the end. They just walk on, stand there. I'm in the middle and they stand here. That is the cue to me to say, you need to get off stage now. It's very unprofessional. I'd highly never, ever recommend anyone do that, right? So I had to cut it. I had to cut the ending. And I walked off stage and I thought, geez, bloody hell. So a lot of people, they would have gone, that is the worst event of my life. I'm never speaking again. Well, I don't do that because I go, no failure, only feedback.
Right.
How fascinating. What do I learn from that? Don't go on after lunch. So what I should have said then is next time, hey, I'm not walking out on that stage. They're not going to pay attention to me. It'd be a waste of your money. I can either refund you or you can move me to later on. And now I've learned that, I can now preempt that. So next time I'm booked as a keynote speaker, I'll say, I don't mind going on after lunch, but I'm not going on if they're still eating.
Right.
Because they won't, and you won't get the value from me. So that's it. If we can take every experience that we have, and if it doesn't go well, go, wow, how interesting. How brilliant. I wonder what I can learn from that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that just goes back to what we were saying earlier around the evidence of confidence comes from taking the risks. So,
Yeah.
you had that lesson, and then now you've built the confidence to say, no, next time I'm going to have the confidence to stand my ground, set my boundaries and say, no, I'm not doing that. So
100%.
Amazing. And, also having met you, you shared with me some of your real big manifestations, and they have been and you are a major manifester. You listen to stories about John Assaraf, and like, he talks about something that happened like 20 years, right? It took him 20 years to manifest his house. Now that's still astounding. The fact that, the story, his son's like, hey dad, how come this house that we live in is on this vision board? But it took you 9 months, right? So can you share the story?
Yeah.
So this was only October 2024, and just how many things have manifested for you?
Yeah. So October 2024. So what led to that very quickly was, I had a real tough time last year where my best friend passed away, and it was really horrific. It was really hard to deal with. I lost a bit of spark, wondering what I was going to do. And through my loneliness and through that depression, I started just doom scrolling through Spotify, and I found a podcast which was called Define Your Purpose, a review of the Jack Canfield Principles by Ricky Locke. I was like, that's me. It was one of my episodes from 2021 where I was reviewing the Success Principles. I started listening to it, and I was reminded of Howard Thurman's quote, don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive. Because what the world needs is more people who've come alive. I went, oh, right. I'm going to go back into my personal development stuff. My speaking, I love my speaking. I love my Jack Canfield work. Started going through all my textbooks and workbooks, and I saw that BTS was going to happen in person. I was like, yes, I'm going to go. I wrote down the affirmations, did the work, did the visualization in my mind. I didn't have a vision board at that point, but I had a goal and an affirmation. I was closing my eyes. And I asked my wife, and she said, yeah, if you want to go, you can go. I don't mind that you go to LA and leave me and your 2-year-old at home, as long as you pay for the new carpet in the house. But yeah, okay, that's a fair deal, I think, Debbie, wouldn't you agree, right? So I went to LA, met some amazing people, did the vision board party on the second night, which was incredible. For the camera, if anybody's watching this on YouTube, this is my vision board.
There you go.
And I've always had this goal for about 10 years. I always wanted to do a TED Talk, a big fan of like Tony Robbins, Jack Canfield, that kind of thing. And I set myself that challenge of, I really want to do it. I think I didn't have the self-belief, but someone said to me last year, Ricky, you've done your TEDx, haven't you? I went, no. He said, oh, right, you're well ready for it. I went, really? You really think so? He's like, yeah, you should. Okay. So I had that intention going into BTS last year, did the vision board pie. I found a picture of TEDx from Google, photoshopped the picture, put a picture of myself from that time. Actually, I stood on stage. That picture there for everyone is that story when I stood on stage with Nelson Mandela's bodyguard. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And I mean, that looks like the current, sorry, but I don't want to give away the punchline, but like,
yeah,
I thought
of course,
for a moment that was just recent. So amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. So I took that picture, did the work, closed my eyes every morning, every night. I did the vision in my mind, played the picture of me walking on that stage, getting around applause, walking off, did the affirmation. I'm so happy and grateful walking off stage, now delivering my first TEDx talk. On the way back after the last night, the weirdest, spookiest thing was, I was in the hotel. Something in my gut just said, just stick around, Ricky. Don't go just yet. So I stuck around, started doing some stuff on my laptop. Dr. Robert Kelly, a cardiologist from Ireland, hadn't had a big chance to meet him. He came up to me and said, Ricky, I know we haven't had a lot of time to chat. I'm going back to LAX soon. Do you want to come and share an Uber with me? I was like, yes. Got in the car. I said, Robert, I apologize. I've not had a chance to catch up with you. What do you do? What are you working on? He said, oh, I'm not a cardiologist from Ireland. I've just done my very first TEDx. What? I was like, oh my God, you need to tell me. I was like, yes, on my vision board. Oh my God, So he started to tell me everything and the process and what he learned and all that. And then he was saying about, you know what, I'd love to even do even more. I'd like to continue developing my public speaking skills. I was like, I run a presentation company. So it was just this weird synergy. But as soon as I got back, my brain was like firing. And I just contacted Nikki Kinsella, who had come with me. So I met her in LA last year, which is weird. We were on the same table. Never met her in my life before. And she's from Cheshire that way. She said she wants to do a TEDx talk as well. I was like, oh, fantastic. And she said, have you thought about TEDx Northwich when I came back? I went, no. Saw it, applied for it, sent an idea, sent the video, did the application process. They invited me to come deliver a pitch. I did it. And fast forward 9 months, which is like 5 weeks ago, I've just stood on stage with my first TEDx talk. And the weirdest thing is, Debbi, as well, is that one of the speakers who stood on that stage with me was Nikki Kinsella, who I'd met in BTS. So she stood on there with me. We both had the same idea. We've obviously become quite good friends now, and we both delivered that TEDx talk in 9 months. So crazy. I don't know if this is a weird universe thing, right? So when I saw TEDx Northwich apply for speakers, part of the requirements, it said, if you're going to apply for this, this is our proposed strategy where you are going to have to either appear on Zoom or you're going to have to come in person to deliver this once a month. So it's like a 7 or 8 meetings you have to do. The weirdest thing was when I went to go apply, in the week of where the TEDx talk would have been delivered, a wedding that would have inhibited that performance, an event where I was booked at, rang me and said, Ricky, we're so sorry, we're splitting up, we're cancelling. So that just opened up the space in the diary. And every single meeting that I should have been there was all on a Monday. And Mondays are usually my day with my daughter, but we have the option to put her into nursery or daycare if we need to. So I was just like, this is the universe creating that space for you to say, this is the time.
Yeah.
And it happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. And the spookiest thing, that if everyone wants to see this, maybe I can send you the real picture, but you won't see it on here, but the letters. Oh, actually I can put it up on my phone, can't I? When I stood up on that stage, did I send this picture to you, Debbi?
I'm not sure.
Oh, right. Okay. I'm going to share this with you. This is really spooky. So for anyone watching on YouTube, you're going to see this.
While you're pulling that up, I want to just say, do you know that I'm connected to Dr. Robert Kelly? He's one of my graduates.
Oh, yes. I think you told me that. Yeah. The vision board.
He is one of the vision board graduates. So again, just like, there's like so many incredible synchronicities, like out of all the people that you could have met and that have had this training.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was who you had. It's just incredible. Yeah.
It's spooky, isn't it? So I'll hold this up so people can see.
Yeah.
So there you go. So that's the picture.
Yes.
So that's the picture, the stock image that you can get from Google, right? That was on my vision board.
Yes.
And this picture that I'm going to now highlight for everyone is the reality. It's
Wow.
almost identical, look.
Yes.
And the weird thing is, Debbie, this X that you can see here,
Yeah.
lifted high, that was on the floor throughout our whole preparation. And it was only about an hour before that they made a split-second decision to say, we're going to put it on a stand to lift it up high, which then made it literally identical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, very creepy.
Oh,
Yeah.
so powerful.
Yeah.
Ricky,
Yeah.
this has just been incredible.
Yeah.
I love the connection with you, but also the connection to magic and to manifestation, the two big M's, and how this beautiful inspiration that we can walk through our life expecting magic, expecting something to appear that's bigger and better than what we even, anticipated, and having the state of being the
Yeah.
state of expectation. And you said, what's the worst thing that can happen? I'd be like, what's the best thing that can happen? And that we're walking around as though, knowing that good things are coming, especially with you, like persistence,
Yeah.
trusting, like following all those beautiful success principles. So is there
Yeah.
something that you want to leave the listener with as we wrap up today? And also, I want to make sure that you say where people can find your TED Talk, but also
Sure.
just you to connect with you.
Yeah. Thank you, Debbie. So I think it's exactly that, as you just said that, in magic, we always trust that there is something magical coming. We never know like how life will, or a magic trick will unfold, but we trust there's always a magical ending. It's just wired into our brains. A magician makes something disappear. It's going to be revealed or appear the most magical, impossible location. Why can't we have that same trust in life? Nobody knows how life will unfold. Life doesn't go to plan, but actually, like magic, it's in that uncertainty where the most extraordinary thing can happen. So for me, what I would say, for anyone feeling through a tough time, it's not going the right way, or maybe there's a major life setback, which is this: trust the detour, stay curious, and magic is never far behind.
Ah, so good. Thank you. And
Thank
Ricky,
you.
where can people find you?
Yeah, sure. So I hang out on Instagram quite a lot at Ricky Locke Magic, or I'm on LinkedIn, and you can find me at www.rickylocke.com.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I've just enjoyed speaking with you and look forward to deepening our connection as well. And maybe there's some collaboration down the line somewhere. But
Yeah.
yeah, thank you again so much for being here. And for my listener, be sure that you remember to dare to declare. Today, we've delved into the realm of manifesting giants, exploring the power of declaring our desires to the universe with unapologetic boldness. But before we bid adieu, I have a little something special to share with all of you dreamers out there. Introducing the Dare to Declare Vision Board magazine and online DIY Vision Board course, your ticket to manifesting greatness in style. Picture this: flipping through pages filled with inspiring images, empowering quotes, and step-by-step guides to help you create the vision board of your dreams. Whether you're yearning for that spacious condo with a view, or a love that sets your soul on fire, our magazine is here to guide you every step of the way. Dive deep into the art of manifesting with our exclusive online DIY vision board course. Led by manifesting expert, yes, yours truly, and seasoned dreamers, this course will teach you the ins and outs of creating a vision board that speaks to your heart and soul. So what are you waiting for? Join the ranks of the manifesting giants and dare to declare your wildest dreams to the universe. Head over to our website, debbisluice.com, and grab your copy of the Dare to Declare Vision Board magazine and enroll in our online DIY Vision Board course today. Until next time, keep dreaming big and daring to declare, because in the world of manifesting, the sky's the limit.